the person, you will have to act if someone's in need. Contract. Well, a relationship can be created through a contract. For instance, a lifeguard might be hired to rescue people. If the lifeguard is ignoring his duty, then he could get in trouble. He could satisfy the actus reus by not doing his job. I think a good example is a bouncer or a bodyguard. You hire a bodyguard to protect you, and the going gets rough, the bodyguard leaves. You end up getting injured severely. Well, that bodyguard is failing to act when by contract he is required to act. And by doing that, he will satisfy the actus reus portion, the actus reus element of the crime. Finally, special relationships. Spouses, parent-child, doctor-patient. These are special relationships which, through the relationship itself, impose a duty to act. As much as you might not like your spouse, you can't let your spouse get injured while you just sit idly by. You'll be just as guilty as the person who's actually doing the act. You will be charged with a crime. Through that special relationship, you have to act. Same thing, if a parent sees their child being hurt, the parent has no choice. And you can definitely see the public policy in that. What a horrible parent who wouldn't jump up to help their child. That special relationship exists. Same thing with doctors, patients. You know, doctors are supposed to help their patients. So if they just sit idly by while their patient is being injured in some form or fashion, or is cutting themselves or something, and the doctor just stands by, then that doctor will have ignored his legal duty, and actus reus would exist. Now, like I said, we're going through this pretty quickly. I don't want to bore you with these initial parts of criminal law, because like I said, we're getting into the meat of it. So we're going through this really quickly. If there are any questions that come up, post it on the My Courses site. The last area we're going to look at, that's how quickly we're going through this, is a legal fiction. Some of you may have heard the word legal fiction. Legal fiction is something that doesn't seem like what it is, but the law makes it what it is. The best way to describe that is think of a company, think of a corporation. A corporation isn't a person. A corporation is a group of people coming together and the state sanctioning the association to act in a certain way. But through legal fiction, companies become fictitious entities, become a person, a non-natural person. They can act like a person, they can buy and sell things and do things that people can do. It's through the legal fiction, the made-up world, that these companies are actually like people, that companies are able to do everything that they do. So, how does that apply to actus reus? Well, the legal fiction that is used comes in the form of possession crimes, drugs, contraband, that sort of thing. Well, when it comes to possession, you can have actual possession, constructive possession, and mere possession. It's this constructive possession where you see the legal fiction working the most. Actual possession is, here's the contraband, I have it in my hand, I can control where it goes, I can throw it in the toilet, I can throw it on the roof, make sure the cops don't get me or get it. That's actual physical possession of the contraband. Versus constructive possession. Well, here's the contraband. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to close and lock the door. And then I'm going to go ride around town. In the meantime, a warrant is issued to search my house. Cops come in. They find the contraband. I yell bloody murder. You can't say I'm in possession of that contraband. It wasn't anywhere near me. I was at Walmart or Winn-Dixie or something. I wasn't touching that. Well, that's where the constructive possession comes in. You might not have physically been touching it, but you control the very place where the contraband exists. Through that control, again, the legal fiction here, through that control, you may as well be in possession of it, as if you actually had possession in your hand. You didn't have possession in your hand, but it sure looked as if you did, based on the fact that it's in a place where you have control over. Another example would be a car. You have contraband in your car. Even though you're not in your car, you might you'd still be considered constructively possessing the item because you can control the car and the contents within it. Finally, mere possession, and the mere possession is where it stops. Mere possession is, I didn't know. You know, your friend left the contraband in the car. They find it in the car. They say, you're in constructive possession. Your response is, I didn't even know it was there. The idea being that if you did know it was there, you would call someone or get rid of it or not keep it in your possession because you didn't authorize it to be in your possession in the first place. So that's where mere possession comes in, and that is not going to rise to the extent of criminal liability. Now, if you find out that the contraband is in the car and you fail to do anything about it, then it'll switch from mere possession to constructive possession if you're driving around town, or actual possession if you're carrying it into your house. So there are the actus reus points. We have the physical actus reus, remember, voluntary action. There must be some volitional thought behind it, not just an involuntary reaction. And if there's an omission, if you fail to act, that can rise to the level of as if you acted and created a situation, a criminal situation. Failure to report, failure to intervene, failure to stop an injury that's occurring when you have a legal duty to do so. And remember the ways that that legal duty can arise. Finally, possession. How legal fiction can create actus reus in a situation where constructive possession exists. I'm going to post on the My Courses a discussion board. I want you all to write a comment in there about something that you learned through the lecture or something that you read in the book. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask me in the discussion board, or you can email me.